Number 5. On 16 February 2017, an Ohio church volunteer placed a call to 911. He told the operator that a 75-year-old woman he'd been caring for over a decade was not acting herself and seemingly refused to get out of a specific chair at her home. However, police were not prepared for the horrific scene that awaited them when they arrived at Barbara Foster's home in Springfield Township. Barbara, who at that point weighed 550 pounds, was literally molded to her chair, as her skin had begun attaching itself to the fabric. It seemed that she'd been trapped in the chair for at least a year, and as emergency personnel removed her from the house, Barbara's bones started breaking because they were extremely frail. From the sight and smell of the house, it was clear that Barbara Foster was a hoarder, with the smell becoming so strong that it reached the sidewalk before Barbara was rescued. Barbara's left leg was amputated soon after she arrived at the hospital, but unfortunately, after a month-long stay in the hospital, the former teacher and animal lover died in March 2017. Number 4. In 1980, Pedro Alonso López was arrested for trying to lure a 12-year-old girl away while she was browsing through a market in Ecuador. This incident took place mere days after a mass grave of 53 girls was uncovered in the area. After being taken into custody, López confessed to the murders of 300 girls. His MO was to pose as a salesman who'd become lost and needed assistance to get back to his office. He would then lure young girls away from their distracted families and proceeded to rape and murder them. He told police he committed the murders to ensure the girls could go to heaven. Shockingly, this monster received a mere 16-year prison sentence and was released in 1994 after serving 14. An hour after being released, López was arrested again for illegal immigration and deported to Colombia. Here he was convicted of a murder he committed 20 years prior. However, he was declared insane and spent some time in a mental asylum before being released again in 1998. In 2020, no one knows López's whereabouts. He could be continuing his murderous streak unabated anywhere in the world. Number 3. In 1955, 26-year-old Zahra Abu Talib went into labor and suffered for 48 hours before being rushed to a local hospital in Morocco. Upon her arrival, Zahra witnessed another woman dying in excruciating pain while giving birth, and this frightened her so much that she fled back home. When, after a while, her labor pains ceased, Zahra carried on with her life. She never gave birth and never suffered a miscarriage. She adopted 3 children and eventually became a grandmother. 46 years after her terrifying experience at the hospital, Zahra felt intense pains once more. Doctors took an ultrasound scan of her belly and found a mass. An MRI scan revealed the mass to be her unborn baby. It was discovered that Zahra's pregnancy had been ectopic, the fetus growing from the fallopian tube and into her stomach. Because the baby was never born, it basically calcified in Zahra's body and was removed during a 4-hour procedure. Zahra Abu Talib became known as the woman who gave birth to a stone baby when she was over 70 years old. Number 2. In 2015, a family from Schuylkill County wanted to add some insulation behind the walls of a room in their Auburn house. They were not prepared for what they found behind the layers of drywall. Several dead animal carcasses wrapped in newspapers dating back to the 30s and 40s. CUJO Brazos confirmed that they had made 1 or 2 animal discoveries since 2012, but nothing at the scale of the new discovery, and that the home inspection before they moved in didn't reveal any of the horror behind the walls. Removing the carcasses, half-used spices, and other items from behind the walls have depleted the family's savings, as insurance didn't cover any of it. The family, looking for answers, sent some of the artifacts and animal remains to an expert in Kutztown, who told them that the items were placed inside the walls as part of a Dutch magic ritual to heal diseases. The Brazos have since started a GoFundMe account to raise money to tear out more walls to ensure that there aren't any more animal remains tucked inside.
We interrupt this program.
In March 2014, Katrina McGaw signed a lease on a North County ranch house. Her landlady was Sandra Travis. A few months after moving in, Katrina was watching a documentary on serial killers with a friend when they both suddenly sat up straight and looked at each other in alarm. The house being featured in various crime scene photos on the TV screen was the very one they were sitting in. The house Katrina was living in previously belonged to serial killer Maury Travis, son of her landlady, Sandra Travis. Maury had built several torture chambers in the basement of the house and kept corpses there. Katrina immediately went to Sandra and demanded she be let out of the lease. Sandra was unwilling to release Katrina from the lease until the St. Louis Housing Authority intervened. Only then did she agree to rescind the contract. Maury Travis killed himself before he could be charged with the murders of at least 17 women.